I, 21 female, have identified as a trans woman ever since I turned 15. Both my parents were incredibly supportive since the two of them immigrated from Europe in the 90s. Their views are a little more open. My parents divorced when I was very little. I lived most of my childhood going between their houses with a schedule almost every week. My mother married again when I was 17 and he has been great. Obviously, I preferred to spend time with my dad, but my stepdad was just as nice and supportive. Years ago, my dad met a woman through his real estate job. Let's call her Martha. Martha and him began a relationship very soon after. I introduced myself as soon as I could, since I could only visit him every Christmas cause college. I rooted for my dad and her all the way. They got married in September last year. She has one other son, my new older stepbrother, who I was so happy to meet / have since I never had siblings growing up. It all came crashing down when just a month ago I made a passing comment on a FaceTime call to my dad about my estrogen. Martha looked shocked. She asked if I had problems with my hormones and if I needed help. I was so confused. I shook my head, almost laughing out my nervousness. My dad told her that I was trans at that moment. I couldn't even process that he never even bothered to tell her when she stood up and my dad hung up on me. I knew she was a religious woman from the conversations I've had with her when I came to visit, but turns out she's deeply religious. I haven't heard from her since. My stepbrother texted me some weeks after saying he didn't care if I was trans since he's also an only child. He would protect his only sister. He ended up telling me that Martha had prohibited him from talking to me and in a way also told my dad to stop supporting my sin. Oh god! I told my mum what was happening and I almost saw fire in her eyes. She gave my dad an ultimatum to put some respect between me and Martha in a call. In that same call, I told him that if things weren't changing, that he needed to choose between me or her. It's breaking my heart because I never wanted it to come to this. I love both my dad and my stepbrother, and at one point, my stepmom too. Jesus! I mean, you shouldn't ever really pick your wife over your child, no matter what the situation is. Especially when it's not the biological parent that you're with. Like, when it's a parent, the actual biological parent should always be on the child's side. Especially in a situation like this. That's kind of mad. There is 2 updates, so I'm gonna look at them. So the first update, after that call, my dad has been calling me non-stop. I've been crying non-stop. My stepbrother told me Martha wants to speak with me tomorrow. And then the update 2 is they spoke to Martha. She explained her views. I explained mine. I told her I wouldn't be near an environment that thought my own existence was wrong. She began crying, saying that my dad already threatened her with leaving if this call didn't solve the problem. I told her that it was her who had a problem, not me. I can't change what I am, but she can change how she thinks. She said I was being selfish and I hung up. I couldn't listen to her anymore. Okay, so the stepmom's just a bitch by the sounds of it. That's kind of mad. I'm going to assume there isn't another update, but Jesus. Fucking, I want to read the comments. Yeah, not the asshole, obviously. Your dad on the other hand. Yeah. Okay, TLDR, you, not the asshole. Dad, kind of wimpy asshole. Stepmom, bitch. I agree. Sounds pretty accurate. Am I the asshole for refusing to meet my dying grandma who blamed me for my father's death? I, 21 female, am in a massive fight with my mum and sister right now. They're calling me I don't know how to say that. Is it apathetic or apathetic? I don't fucking know. I'm cold, but I feel like I'm just protecting my peace. When I was 2, my father died of cancer. He was diagnosed while my mum was pregnant with me. For some reason, my paternal grandmother and his whole family decided that I was the reason he got sick and died. I grew up being treated like a curse. My cousins and siblings were loved, but I was the unwanted child who killed her father. What the fuck is wrong? Surely this is not real. What the fuck is wrong with people? How does your brain go, pregnant, so the dad got cancer? They're not even related. Like, the dad isn't, like the father can't be fucking pregnant. So how How do people's brains work? Like, maybe if it was the mum and the mum had cancer while she was pregnant, I could maybe understand their blame in some way. But fucking Jesus. It got so toxic that my mum eventually moved to my maternal house. She worked constantly, so I grew up pretty isolated with heavy abandonment issues and trauma from being treated like a pariah by my own blood. I haven't seen or spoken to my grandmother in over 10 years. Now she's dying, she's reached out to me and asked to come see her one last time, and that she's very apologetic for what she did. I told her, I don't care whether she lives or dies, I'm not coming. Fair enough. My sister and mum got furious. They say at the end she is my family, and I should forgive her now that she's on her deathbed. I told them her dying doesn't erase the decade of abuse, neglect, and trauma. True. This whole situation wrecked my mental health. My friends have been reaching out to check on me, but I've been completely ghosting them. I haven't replied to a single text in weeks. I feel terrible because they haven't done anything wrong, but I don't want them to be bothered because of... What? Can you learn to type if you type on this fucking Reddit? Yeah, I agree with this. I don't know, maybe too cynical, but sounds like a trap. She could just go off on you. What's the upside for you here? I agree. Not their soul, but feel free to consider going to see your grandmother anyway, just to tell her in person to fuck all the way off. And you know she's going to burn in hell, whether you believe or not, for the way she treated you. You don't owe anyone closure, but you might be able to get some for yourself. Good luck. Yeah, that's a fair point as well. Don't blame you, what a horrible person your grandmother was, and also the extended family. Your grandmother just wants to make peace with God for her sins, and one of them is how she treated you. I'm sure your father will be there to meet her and tell her what a fuck up she was. She will stand before her maker and pay the price. I can't believe she would do this to an innocent child. What is wrong with people? Yeah. Protect yourself and mental health. You owe her nothing. Same thing she gave your whole life. True. I bet some of your family is worried she might cut them all out of the will. Who cares? That is not your problem. Yeah, again, yeah, that is very true. I've seen fathers who abandoned their wife and kids and disappeared and started a new family. Then when they're on their deathbed, they want to see their kids before they die for their salvation. Kinda messed up, right? What does the kid really get out of it? See them and still not know them. I do agree. I actually agree with that. Like, are you going to see the grandmother who basically, like, blamed you for her son dying because he got cancer while he was being developed in the womb, by the way? Like, nah, fuck this dying old cunt. Let her die. You could even go visit her like she wants just to laugh at her, to be honest. Because that is fucked.